We're going to be talking about LinkedIn today for sure, and I'm going to touch on calendaring a little bit as well. And let's just get going. So for slide number 2, I just want to let you know I'll be showing you some best examples. Some, I call it 201, but next level LinkedIn. And then we'll be talking about some calendaring approaches. So slide 3, define the type of people on LinkedIn. So the demographics that are on LinkedIn. So who do you think is actually on LinkedIn is the question. What kind of person? So think about that for a second. And I'm sure you have thought of the answer. So on slide number 4, it's used by business leaders. The average household income on LinkedIn is significantly higher. What are we talking about? Significantly higher than other social media platforms. Let's see if I can get rid of this. And the average time spent on LinkedIn is only 17 minutes every month, whereas the average time on something like Facebook is, believe it or not, 2 hours a day. So huge difference. So people go into LinkedIn to find what they're looking for often and move on. So it's a different type of platform. Professionals are more likely to be on LinkedIn than other platforms. And LinkedIn is accessed by mobile devices at about 40% of the time. So you want to make sure what you have them downloading is mobile accessible, or what they're looking at, the link that you might be sending them to is accessible. So slide 5, appropriately named as we're talking about 5 reasons business professionals are on LinkedIn. Often because it's a business and services marketing tool. So it's to showcase your business or services, or to find business or services, to find potential employees and employers, to find potential sponsors. I find a lot of my nonprofits that I work with, we go through the local businesses on LinkedIn to look for potential sponsors. Industry networking, I always suggest if you happen to be one that goes to any type of conference or industry networking, LinkedIn is probably another virtual kind of network you should take advantage of. Excellent resource for business-related news, and I will show you how to find the business-related news. You can find a lot of articles that you may want to use for your local clients through LinkedIn. So page 6, what type of accounts can you own on LinkedIn? Or what I mean by own, what kind can you administer on LinkedIn? So what kind of accounts can you own on LinkedIn? I want you to think about that for a second. Let me just make this a little smaller. So page 7 talks about them. We have profiles. That's your personal profile. You must have a personal profile to create an account on LinkedIn. That's where you manage your personal reputation. And you can change that. And when I work with human resource conferences in the past, that group will make it so no one can see them on LinkedIn. They'll go to the top right corner and they'll go to their settings and they'll change their settings so that no one sees them, because they're always looking for humans to work with and to try and hire, and they don't want them knowing that they've been looked at. So they'll turn their settings down so no one can find them. And others like myself will make their settings public. So anyone within my network, and we'll talk about what that is, can find me. You don't have to, but your profile can create company pages. Your profile can join or create groups. And groups are very popular on LinkedIn. So the company page can be one that a number of people are admins to, just like Facebook. On Facebook, you create a profile and you can then create company pages if you so wish, and you can put multiple people as admins on the company pages, and I always recommend you do that. At least 2 or 3 people are the admin on the company page. It should be part of their onboarding, and then if they're leaving the company, you need to remove them as admins from the company page, just like Facebook. So let me just go see. Yeah?
Sophie, do
Yes.
you need to have a personal profile in order to create a company profile?
Correct, you do.
Okay.
Good question. Let me just see if there's anyone else trying to join us. No, okay, I just want to make sure. So yes, the question was, Do you need a profile to create a company page? And the answer was yes, you do need a profile to create a company page. Okay, now the things I'm finding, we're all finding, is that once you're on LinkedIn, you're getting a lot of people sending you messages to your message box. So we're finding it's very disruptive because there are so many profiles on LinkedIn, and that is how they seem to be, a lot of people reaching out to foster new relationships. So you can change your own personal settings on LinkedIn so that people cannot message you if you feel that that's not how you want to use LinkedIn. So one of the things I always suggest is to go to your profile settings, and I'll show you how right now. And it's up here in the corner. You're going to click on Me, and you're going to scroll down to Settings and Privacy. This is not, by the way, in the handouts. So all I'm sharing is that in your LinkedIn account, you can go to your top right corner, click on the little icon that's called Me, which is the your profile photo, and you scroll down, you click on Settings and Privacy, and that takes you to a part, this is something you should do on your own, where it's Privacy and Communications. And what this is, I suggest you take your time going through it, specifically the communications, and this is how you are going to allow people to send you invites on LinkedIn. This is how you're going to allow people to send you emails on LinkedIn. Excuse me. This is going to suggest how you're going to allow people to send you messages. And I'm finding the biggest complaint I'm getting from people on LinkedIn is that they're getting too many people sending them messages. So you may want to go to your settings, to Privacy, click on Communications, and click on Messages. And what you'll find there is allow others to send you InMail, yes or no. So I have mine on yes, so I am getting a ton of people sending me InMail, which is a bit disruptive if you can't handle all of that InMail. So you may want to change that. There's a number of different settings. I would suggest you go through each of these settings and decide what is your threshold that you can put up with on LinkedIn so that you're not going to get disturbed by it. So how many emails will you get? As you can see, the frame I have up now talks about if you want an email every time there is a comment on a post that you've created. So there's a number of different things you can say, yes, you want emails on, or no, you do not. So that's something that you take your time, you go through so that you're not put off by LinkedIn by all of the noise that's on there. We have profiles, I'm going to page 9 now. My question is now on page 9, how many groups can you join? So you can only join groups as a profile. So how many groups can you join on LinkedIn? Maximum is 50. So why would you join a group? Because a group allows you to speak with like-minded people. So if you go to a conference, there's often a group that would be on LinkedIn that represents that conference, or there's a group that represents that community of interest. So on LinkedIn, I don't have a slide on this, I'm just going to talk to it. Last night I entered that slide here and I realized I would throw everyone off. On LinkedIn, if I was connected to Sherry, so if you looked at each other's profile, there would be a 1 next to Sherry's name. Then if Sherry is connected to George, but George is not connected to me, and I looked at George, there'd be a 2 next to his name. I will be able to, on LinkedIn, see most of George's information. Now, if George is connected to Cheryl Ann, but not to Sherry and not to myself, if I go look at George, they'll obviously be, we're on page 10. So what we're talking about right now is, we talked about how many groups can a profile join, and we said 50. But I wanted to share with you something that's pretty important as to, on LinkedIn, if I'm connected to Sherry, there'd be a 1 next to our name. We can see everything about each other. If then Sherry is connected to George, there'd be a 2 next to his name, and I can see almost everything. I can see everything about George. But if George is connected to Jill, that would be a 3 next to her name. I can see Jill, but I can't see everything about her. Now, if Jill is connected to you, and I won't be able to see you on LinkedIn. I won't be able to see you on LinkedIn. So connecting is important. But if we happen to be in the same group, I'll be able to see you on LinkedIn. So that's why a lot of people will join groups, because it puts those people in their network. Okay? So what did I just say? The groups do many things. One, it allows you to meet people you aren't necessarily linked to, but it also puts them into your network, which is really important. That way you can see more about those people. Okay? So the one way is to connect directly with them, or connect to someone who has a large number of connections. Another way to connect with groups that you may not be familiar with or people that you may not be familiar with is to join groups, and you can only join up to 50 groups. Okay? So that makes sense. What type of companies are on LinkedIn? You want to think about that for a second. Page 12 talks about the answer. B2B businesses are on LinkedIn. But what's interesting is I have a company who is an art gallery, and they're finding their high-end artists are on LinkedIn doing well. So even though we all know B2B is traditionally who is on LinkedIn, what's very interesting is that artists, or those who are selling to high-end professionals, are finding that LinkedIn is a great place to stand out, because often there aren't others like them on LinkedIn. So that could be something you could help your clients understand if they are the type that are selling to high-end businesses. It could be a place that they find their clients. So that's pretty interesting. So any questions? So one of the things that I wanted to share with you was the events, because it's fairly new. So what I'm going to do, for those of you that are following along with just the PowerPoint, is I'm scrolling all the way down to right before where I start with the calendar, and I want to show you something brand new on LinkedIn, which is called the events. So it's on page 76, way down near the bottom, and it asks, can you create an event on LinkedIn? Can you create a LinkedIn event? So you can. It's brand new. So if you go to slide 77, you can create it from your profile. So you can't create it from your business page yet, just from your profile. So your profile is very powerful. Helps you dictate your identity on LinkedIn. It helps you now you can create events. As you know, what we'll show you in a little bit is you can also create articles. But these events, and I was thinking you guys specifically, because you often have your AGMs or you have your workshops. These events could be very powerful for you. So I'm on now page 78. So where do you find the event?
Sophie, I just have a question.
Yes.
So if you're creating an event on your company's page, but you're using your personal profile to make the edits on the company's page, would it show up under your name? Like, would it show up under Michelle, or would it show up under Seabed Collingwood?
It'll show up under Michelle. So whoever is the communications or the spokesperson for your organization should be the one that's creating the event. Then you can.
But would it show up on my own profile as well?
Yes, it'll show up on your own. So this is why. So for your company, for any company on LinkedIn, you need to think of who is that spokesperson on LinkedIn. So who is the one that this event or should be joining groups on LinkedIn? That person would be representing community futures or community development in your community. So that person is the one that might join groups. I believe that person is also the one that might be creating the events. Then you take the event link and you're going to put it on your company page. It does not let you create events from the company page. I'm hoping it will in the future. This is brand new. It would make a lot of sense, right? that your company
You
page.
might not want it on your personal page. You might just want it on the business page.
Exactly. And what's different on Facebook is, of course, on Facebook, you can create it right on your business page. It doesn't know that Michelle created it. It just sees the company page has an event. So right now on LinkedIn, it's the profile who can create the profile. They can be administrators on the company page, but they can't add events as the company. They're going to be adding events from their profile. They are also adding events so from the profile, and they can now have a link to that event which can be shared, but it's still hosted. It still clearly will say it's hosted by the profile that created it. So you want to take a step back and think of who does it make sense that the public would see creating our events on LinkedIn. So you see what I mean? Okay. So where you go to create it is you're going to see, if you're on LinkedIn and you're on your home page on LinkedIn, you scroll down on the left side and you're going to see something new here that's called events. And then when you we're on page 78. So I'm going to go to page 79. When I click on this, 79 shows an example of an event completed. So I thought I would create an event for you to show what it looks like. So it's showing, I put in a cover. So the cover of the event is a certain size. It happens to be 1x4 as far as the dimensions. So I went to Canva and I created a custom Canva cover, and I did it 2 inches high by 8 inches wide. So I fit it nicely there. And then the logo of the event, it lets you put in a logo for the event. So I added my company's logo there. So it doesn't grab your face, which I'm glad about. So it doesn't grab the event organizer's face. So I was not worried, but I was wondering if my profile photo was going to be in the event as it would in Facebook. But it allows you to put in a logo and a cover. And then it allows you to add a title for the event, tells you who it's organized by, in this case myself. You put in a start and end date in it, a start time and end time. So I actually will be hosting a live webinar on Google Listings this coming March 12th at 11 a.m. And I've put all of my Google Hangout information there so people can log in directly from LinkedIn. Now you can share it. So I can share it and that'll give me a link. So I'll go in and show you in a moment. So now I'm on page, what page am I on now? I'm continuing on just on the next slide on the LinkedIn 201, where I'm showing how you create the event. So it shows the cover, it shows the logo, event name, location. In my case, what I've put in the location was the webinar link. It could be an actual address. Venue details, if I want to put in exactly, the more information about the venue, your start date and time, your end date and time, time zone. You want to make sure you're in the correct time zone, description, and optionally ticketing web address. So if you have Eventbrite that you're using for your events, I suggest you use your Eventbrite link here, because you're going to use that same Eventbrite link on Facebook. You're going to use that same Eventbrite link on your website. So using that one Eventbrite is going to enable you to know how your ticket sales are going. So that's what I suggest you do if you're selling tickets. Use Eventbrite. Then you're able to indicate if your event is going to be public or private. And what you have to remember is if you're going to create it as private because you'd like to work on it and then you're hoping to change it to public, you cannot do that. You cannot start it as private and then change it to public. That's one of the things that you need to be aware of. If you create it as private, it's going to stay as private. If you're going to,
Can you do the reverse? Can you start as public and move it to private though?
No, you cannot start it as public and move it to private. It has, whichever way you actually create it, it's going to stay that way. So I wanted to alert you to that, because I know most of us, a lot of us, will work in it, something private until we have all the details, and then we want to flip it. So that's not the way. So what it means is public. Anyone on the LinkedIn, anyone on LinkedIn can see the event and can choose to attend. So it's open to anybody. On private means that you have to invite people. So you can give them the link that allows them to be invited, or you can, when you create the event, go through your contacts and invite people. You can go through groups and invite people. So private might work for you guys in some of the events that you do, and other times it might be public. So I thought that was just an interesting little item that you really need to be aware of. And it's no big deal. You create it by public, by mistake, and you want to make it public the other way, you're just going to have to delete this event and start over again. Life isn't over. But does that make sense? Pretty interesting. Okay, so I am going to just show you, and I apologize for Michelle. I'm just going to go live onto LinkedIn for a moment. I don't know if you want to go onto LinkedIn, but if you went to my social media, to Sophie Andrell, my profile, what you'll find on my profile, I actually have the event. So for those of you that can see my screen, you'll see I'm on my screen on LinkedIn. I scroll down, and on the left side, just like the PowerPoint showed over here, there is events. So if I click on events, it's showing you the event I created that I showed you earlier. So I now have a Google LinkedIn.com/events/ and what I put in as the title, Power of Google Listing Live Webinar. So it's given me a unique URL right to my event, which is interesting. Or I can click on share on the event, and I can share it in a post. I can send it as a message to individuals. I can copy the link if I wanted the link, which will end up being that top link I showed you. I can share it on Twitter, and I can share it on Facebook, but I would just probably take that link and share it if I was going to do it that way. So I probably would never use this on Facebook, because Facebook has a very powerful event itself. But I would maybe I would use it on Twitter to give people a way to know about my event. So as you can see, it's showing the event organizer, it's showing the time, and get tickets. What I did was I just have this going back to my website. I created a landing page on my website for my free digital, for my free webinars that I have coming up, and I have indicated my past webinars on here as well. So that's where I chose to go, because they don't have to actually sign up. So if I go back to LinkedIn, go back to LinkedIn. So what I wanted to show you also, which is very interesting, because I hadn't used this before, obviously, because it's so new. But see over here, what it shows, Michelle, is next to my event page, it shows all the attendees. So these are people I don't know. So if I click on see all, there's 28 people that are new to me. This is somebody who I still don't know them, even though it shows that we are one apart, and there's some that are three away from me in my network. So that means they are connected to someone who's connected to someone I know. Here's someone who's outside of my network. Here's someone who's 3 away. Here's someone who's 2 away. And there's 3 more down here who are 3 away. So, and then if I go to next, I can see all these new people who I'm going to be exposed to by my by my webinar. So I'll let you know how it goes. This is going to be the first event I've ever done through LinkedIn. So I felt it was worthwhile for your team to be familiar with it. Okay, so I'll come back to this in a second. Okay, so I wish there was a way to create one as your business, but there isn't. So if I was to go and create a new event, I go to the far left and I click on plus, And what comes up is the exact screen I showed you earlier, where you're filling in the cover, you're filling in a logo, the event name, the location, the venue, and it automatically indicates that that you are the host. So there's no place that you're able to change that. Okay? So let me just go back to our PowerPoint. So I'm going to now go back up. So it's page 13. Yes, exactly. So page 13. So if you're going to spend 5 minutes on LinkedIn, and I suggest you can do that, I suggest you can do 5 minutes on LinkedIn. So you're not doing it, you're not posting, you're just wanting to communicate. 5 minutes once a week. If you're not really the person that's posting on LinkedIn, what you want to do is check your notifications, maybe like and share if you have a company page, like and share from your company's page. And from your profile, you're logging into LinkedIn, you're checking your notifications. Why are you doing that? Because people are trying to reach out to you. So you're checking your notifications. Why are you then, second step, liking or sharing from your company's page? Because you're showing that you're proud of working at your company, and you're showing that you are extending the reach of whatever company post you have. You may go to another company page, maybe one of your clients, and you might like or share one of their posts. So if you like it, at least you're showing them that you are listening, that you're supportive, and that goes a long way. So you're going to be liking it as your profile. This is yourself as your profile. You share it when you believe that those people who you're connected to will find value. So like it if you're just wanting to show some support. Share it when you want to share the message out to your connections. And then you may want to connect with 5 more people. So I just chose 5 because we're saying 5 minutes. So you may want to connect with 5 more people, and that will allow you again. So I might go back and put you guys on mute, but I think I'll survive. So
Sophie, I have a question.
Yes.
Can you like somebody's page from your corporate page, like page, or you can only do that from your own personal page?
Yeah, you cannot.
Like,
I'm just trying to,
okay.
Yeah, but I just wanted to show you. So right now, if I'm here and I have to view as member, so I'm looking at this, it's only giving me the option to like it one way. On Facebook, if you remember over here, there's this little down arrow where you can change over to be the company page. You can't do that. There's no way to do that here. So I have to like it as my human self. That's why I always say you need to find somebody in the company that represents your company on LinkedIn. That's one of the first things you want to do. Does that make sense? Okay. So you want to like and share from a company page, and you want to connect with 5 key people. That helps you get connected. That helps increase your network. So those are things you can do in 5 minutes easily. So I'm on page, why does it not tell me the page? 15, thank you. And 15 shows you the best way to capitalize on LinkedIn is to download the app to your phone. And you can, from your phone, do these 5 minutes so quickly. It allows you to really stand out, and it allows you to engage without LinkedIn becoming something that you don't have time to do. So if I scroll down to page 16, what you're seeing is what the app looks like. So right here, you can see LinkedIn, right in the second row, second row, second column is the LinkedIn app. No surprise. And when you click on that, it looks similar to what you're going to find on your laptop. So what you're able to see here is what you're going to see on your phone, and it's so productive when you do that, because you're able to go and look, and you have a few minutes in between meetings, as we all do. Go to your LinkedIn for those 5 minutes, see if anybody has tried to notify you. What does that mean? On this little bell on your app, you're going to see a 1 or a 2 or an 8. That means you have 8 notifications. You click on that little bell, and you're able to go and see, okay, someone's trying to send me a message. Somebody has commented on something I commented on, so you're able to engage. The middle part, those two little boxes in the middle, show that someone has tried to send you a message, which is excellent. So you're able to go and reply to the message if you want. And on the left, between the little boxes and the house, there maybe someone's trying to connect with you. It'll show you who's trying to connect with you. So if you wanted to actually write a post from this point, say you're at a conference, you've taken a picture and you'd like to post, or you're at your AGM and you'd like to take a picture and you'd like to post, at the far bottom right, on the right side from the app, you'll be able to click on that little blue box with the little pencil in it. You click on that, and what comes up is the ability on the next page, page 17, to actually create a post. Very simple. So all you do is you're able to write your post, your text here. You're able to attach a photo by clicking on that looks like a photo, or a video from your actual, that you may have just captured on your cell phone, and you can post it from here. So it's very effective, and it allows you to show that you're a thought leader, show that all the support you're giving back to your community. And again, that's why I always say it's important to assign somebody in the company to be the spokesperson for your organization. Okay, so quiz, why be on LinkedIn? This is really important. I think a lot of people don't understand this. So on page 18, so think about why be on LinkedIn. So of course we're saying to network, to stand out, to manage your reputation. But this is one of the big reasons that I suggest, page 19, is because LinkedIn is indexed by Google. So something people don't realize. LinkedIn, your personal profile, is indexed by Google. So if I scroll down to page 20, so I'm looking for Sherry Cole, Community Futures, and what comes up, the very first search result that comes up is her LinkedIn profile. So that's one of the things that each of us need to be aware of, that if we have a profile on LinkedIn, Google, when someone searches for you, is going to present that as one of your search results. So the second one happens to be Community Futures Ontario. The third one happens to be Facebook through Community Futures. So it's really important that you know that. So when they click on this, when they click on Sherry's first Google results, as you can see on page 21, it goes right to her personal profile. So it's important to know that sometimes is going to be the first exposure people have to you. So you want to make sure that the bio says what it should say. Some people put in their titles. Some people put in what they stand for. You know, helping our local businesses, succeed. Like what you stand for is what a lot of people put in there. Other people put in their titles. So it really depends on you. I love the picture Sherry has. Something you can do now that you couldn't do when Sherry first created this is you can put in a cover page for your profile. So that's something that's really important to do. And if your company page was created after you created your profile, you have to go back into your profile, click on the little pencil next to experience, and rewrite your company page so you link to it. This one is linked already, but if it wasn't, you would start typing it in, or maybe it's not linked, I'm not sure actually, I'd have to go look, but you start typing it in if there is a company page, and there would be a drop down with logos next to it, and you would choose your company page. Then if someone goes to the company page, they're going to see all the employees that work for the company. And if someone clicks from your profile to the company page, they're going to end up on your company page. So it's very powerful connecting the two. So I'm going to scroll down now to page 22. So page 22 shows I've just looked for Sophie and Drell. Shows my Google listing, because I have a Google listing for our company. But it shows the very first thing under my Google listing, the very first result happens to be my LinkedIn profile again. So it's very interesting that it's my LinkedIn profile. So if I scroll now to page oops, looks like I'm page 23 still, and I click on my LinkedIn profile, it goes to my profile. So as you can see, there's a cover page that you could add a cover photo to it. So now again with Canva that we were all that many of us use, it's easy to create your cover. And then your logo should be not your logo, but it should be a photo of you for your profile. And your agency, so 123 Digital Power, your agency, speaker, trainer who cares and helps you set and get marketing results. So again, that's why it's so important, because it is actually indexed by Google. So page 24, how many accounts can you manage with one email on LinkedIn? It's basically one email account and one profile. But you can add secondary emails, and I really suggest you do that. Add secondary emails to LinkedIn. So you might create it with your Gmail account, or you might create it your LinkedIn profile with a email account that's not associated with your business. But I always suggest you go in and also add your business, because then you can manage your company page. So they want you to have the same URL as the company's website if you're going to manage your company page. So I'll talk about that again in a second. Or you can create your LinkedIn account with your company page. So sorry, your company email account. So it could be Sherry at the company that she works with .ca. But say she leaves that company and she doesn't have access to that email anymore. She definitely wants to put in a secondary email, which is her non-company email. So regardless of how you do it, how you've set it up, you're not in jeopardy. If you've set it up with your company email, you're okay. You go in right away and put in a secondary email. In case you ever leave that company, you still have access to your personal profile on LinkedIn. They might take you off as the company LinkedIn admin. That's okay, because you still have access to your profile. Okay? Let me go see if there are any questions. So let's go back here. Any questions? Oh.
So when you, with the index by Google, it seems like the example that you looked at brought up personal pages. So let's say, because you had Googled Sherry directly, right? And so it pulled up her page. But if you had Googled Community Futures Ontario, would it show?
It probably depends.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm just doing that now. Probably depends on how busy their LinkedIn account is, but I'm not seeing it here. I just did that.
Okay.
And so I'm seeing their, it said Community Futures Ontario. It should be Western Ontario, right? I knew that. Community Futures Western Ontario. And I'm seeing their website come up first. And I'm seeing their business Facebook page. That's excellent, come up. But not their Google list, not their other one.
LinkedIn.
1, 2, 3, yeah.
Okay.
We don't have a LinkedIn page?
Well, that'll do it. Let me see if mine comes up. So again, what comes up first is my Google listing, and this would be my personal one. And I have seen company pages come up. Was that Michelle asking? I have seen company pages come up. So if they are, let's see, complete retail solutions. Let's see what they come up. That's their listing. And this is their company page. So to your question, was that Michelle? So what I did.
It'd be how active they are.
Yeah. So what I did was I just did a search on Complete Retail Solutions. It's one of the companies that I post for. So I try to post at least twice a week to their company page, and so what comes up, as well as to their Google listing. So what comes up first is their website and their Google listing over here. And then what comes up second is their company page. So that's awesome. And that's nice to know. I've just created their Vimeo account as well, which is where we put their website videos. That comes up, and their Twitter account. So when I click on their company page, it takes us to their company page. So to your question, as long as you have some activity, it comes up, I think consistent activity, it's gonna pull from where it thinks the best information is, so it's definitely indexed. Thank you for asking that. Okay, so let's just go down. So I'm on page 25. How many accounts can you manage with one email, one profile, multiple company pages, and multiple groups? So as you saw when I went on to my LinkedIn, if I scroll down right under my profile, you'll see these are all the company pages I manage right now on LinkedIn. They don't know I'm posting. I'm posting when I go in as admin, so it shows up as the company page. So no one knows that it's Sophie and Drell. There, I'm just posting as the company page. Okay, so now if I scroll down to profiles, this is where you're going to manage your reputation, and this is why I strongly suggest you find somebody in the company that is the brand reputation for your company. What I do, and I actually post as the CEOs of some of my clients on LinkedIn. So I log in as them and I post as them because they're the brand reputation, and we agree up front in our calendar what we're going to post throughout the month. And then we decide of that, what do they want to share on LinkedIn as themselves. So that's something that you may want to think about. If your CEO or your executive director is on LinkedIn and they have the app and they're comfortable, just share with them how they should be sharing company posts through their to their contacts. Share with them that they need to be collaborative and they need to like some of your client posts. If they are never going to do it, you may want to do it on their behalf. So depending if you have time, obviously, you got to choose who's going to be the actual spokesperson. Yes?
There's a question that came through in the chat.
Oh, good, Rebecca. How would I increase the number of followers on my company page? Would I connect it to my profile and then invite them to follow? So, good question. So it's a very good question. But I'm going to Rebecca, can you see my screen? Are you one of the humans that can actually see my screen?
I believe she is, yes.
Okay, so what I do is, so this is the company Complete Retail Solutions, brand new. We just put them on LinkedIn not too long ago. So our process is, the company page, when we put them on LinkedIn, first, what we had to do was go back to their employees and connect them to Complete Retail Solution. And the second thing we had to do was to make sure that their employees on a weekly basis look at the company posts, because we post here twice a week, and they go as employees and they share it through to their connections. Why? Because it gets the company page out there. So you're absolutely right in what you just said. 1, connect to the company page. 2, share from the company page out to your own connections. You can also, on the company page, if I go in and view as admin on my company page, I can boost my company page. I can boost these posts. So right now, if I wanted to boost this post, I could spend a few dollars and click on Sponsor Now, and that allows me to go to something called our Campaign Manager, and similar to basically like you would boost a post on Facebook, we are boosting this company page post so it goes out to more people. So that is something you can do. So that is another way to get your company post out there. Another way is to ask people to follow the post, as you said. So what you're able to do is to go in, view as a member, and you can see what the URL is to that company page up here. So if you're logged in as the admin, you have to, if you're logged in as the admin, it's going to say admin up here. Don't send that out to people because that won't get them to your page. You have to flip from view as member. And then you're able to get your LinkedIn link up here. You can Control C that, you can copy that. And so if you're sending out any emails or newsletters, you can put a link to your company page and ask people to follow your company page. What I do in my signature for all my emails, I also have my LinkedIn company page in my signature so people follow that. Okay? I hope that makes sense. So if I go back to, let me just scroll down. Another thing you may not be aware of, the question is, can you see someone's activity on LinkedIn? So if I went back and looked at Michelle's activity or Sherry's activity, can I see what she's liked, what she's shared, what she's posted? The answer is yes. You may not be aware of that, but you can see every single thing someone has done. So when you're scrolling, so I'm on page 29. So when I go to someone's profile account and I click on activity, I can see all of their activity. I can see who they've liked. So I'm assuming that they're liking them because they're showing support. I can see what they've shared. I can see posts they've created by themselves. That would be under posts. I can see articles they've written. That would be under articles. I could see documents that they've shared. That would be under documents. And activity is where I would see what they've liked and what they've commented on. So just know that everything you do on LinkedIn needs to be strategic because you basically are sharing that with the world. Anyone that comes back to your account will be able to see that. Was there a question?
Would that be the same for the business profile?
Nope, the business profile, all they're doing is seeing what you're posting. Okay? So can you okay, I already talked about customizing your header. I'm going to flip through a little bit. I think you guys know all about your own personal profiles, and this shows that you need, on page 32, a good profile picture, a good cover, a good bio. You're familiar with that. So I'm going to scroll down. I think you've already familiar how to set up your profile. So let me scroll down a little bit to this. I think this is really important. If you do have a profile set up, and you'd like to request a recommendation from somebody. So say I go to you, Sherry, I can click on your more, and what would come up is request a recommendation. So I would click on that and request of Sherry a recommendation. So she would receive in an inbox, you've been requested to give a recommendation to Sophie Andrell. She would write something, and then I would receive it in my inbox. Once I approve it, it goes out to all of Sherry's connections and to all of mine. So it's like giving somebody an endorsement on steroids. So this is another really good way to grow your network. So first you want to make sure if you have a business page, you're connected to it, because people are going to want to see where you work, and they are going to see that Sherry recommends you. So it's a really great way to get who you support out there. If you'd like to go and recommend someone, say I want to recommend Elijah, I would click on recommend here, and I would give him a recommendation, and when he approves it, it would go out to all of my network and all of his. So it's a really powerful way to get recommendations. So I'm going to scroll down to I'm just going to keep on scrolling down. I already showed you privacy. I already showed you taming the noise. This is under privacy, as I said. You want to go under communications on page 42 and decide if you want to get an email or a notification every time any of these events happen. So I've turned all of mine off because I don't want these things. So the company page on page 43, is to market your company and your company's brand. And it showcases your employees. So once you've created your company page and you're happy with it, then you want to reach out to your employees and ask them to connect themselves to your company page. Okay? You should be able to post your post to your company page. It works the same way. People want authenticity. They want to see people. They want to see you guys with happy clients. They want to see people at your workshops. It works just like Facebook as far as those posts that get the most reach and attention. So this is an example of a company page, page 44. You have a cover. It ends up with your logo and a good logo, a good cover. Make sure your staff connects to it. And then add it to your communications calendar. When are you going to post to your LinkedIn? What kind of articles are you going to share? Who's going to write the articles? What kind of posts are you going to share? And then make sure your staff knows to go in and share those posts on a weekly basis. I think that's more than enough. Does that make sense? I don't.
Okay, but if the staff goes into post, like so if I go in, so if Jillian is the one managing this page,
Yep.
I go into post on the company page because I'm set up as an administrator. Would it not show my name that I've done the post?
No, it will show that that the company page has posted. So if I come here, all of these posts I have done. Are you seeing my screen? Complete Retail Solution.
No, I can't see
Oh,
that. I don't.
you don't have access. Okay, I wasn't sure who was speaking. I apologize. Correct. So all I'm showing is Complete Retail Solution, one of the 10 companies that I post for. It does not show that because I'm admin. When I go to post, I am going to be posting as the company page. So when you log into your company page, you're going to find your company page by going to the drop down that says Me right underneath your profile. You click on the company page you want to post for, and then you start a post, and you are posting as the company. It's not posting as the human.
I'm getting confused with the events because you can't do events.
Correct.
Okay.
Right. The events are just through your human profile so far, but your company page, absolutely, you can post on your company page just as the company. So when you're in your company page, on the top right corner of your company page, you have a place where you're able to invite connections, sponsor a page update, post a job, manage admins. So under settings, there is manage admins. So under your admins, you would have the ability to add admins to the company page. So in this case, it's the president of the company, Complete Retail Solutions, who has admin access, and he definitely should. In case our relationship ever ends, he would be able to remove me as admin access. So you want to make sure you have at least 2 people as admin on the company page, and when they post, it will show up as the company page. Okay? Are you having an issue right now where when you're posting, it's not showing up?
No, we don't use LinkedIn. That's what I'm just asking.
Okay, good. So you were right to clarify. So just like on business Facebook, if you're going to post on the business Facebook page, you might have a profile on Facebook, but when that administrator posts on your business Facebook page, they are going to show up as the company page. Nobody knows who's actually posted. Okay? And then, as I suggest, people that actually work for the company should be directed back to the company page and share it out there. So again, you want to take a step back and think of who in our company are the people that represent our company. It might just be yourself if you're a one-man, one-woman show, or it might be you have a few different people. In your cases, I would suggest your board of directors. If you have a board of directors, that they may go to your company page and share the company news once a week. That's a very powerful way of getting your message out there. Okay? If I go back to the page 44, company page, connect. Again, if you haven't already done so in your company page, page 45, you want to connect to it. So let's just scroll on. I'm going to continue. I already did the 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, you want to make sure you're checking notifications, you like and share a company's post, you connect with 5 key people. We already talked about that. I'm not going to get into this. This is all the things you want to put on your profile, but the big thing that I want to share is if you're about to create a new company page, as soon as it's done, on page 47, what you see is your staff needs to go back to their own personal profile, and what they do is they go to where their experience, edit experience, they scroll down to company, and they start typing in your company name. So if you don't have a company page, it won't come up. If you do, if you've just created your company, what'll come up is the logo that you've put up there and the company name. They need to click on it, select it, and then they are connected to their company page. So this is how your employees, your staff, can connect to the company page. Okay, so that's really important. Page 47. And I already talked about this, page 48, that downloading the app is critical. So I'm going to just scroll forward. And I am going to, on page 51, what you were asking, best practices for getting your LinkedIn company page more reach. And page 52, again, if you have a post that you're putting out on your LinkedIn company page, number one thing that you want to do, again, as I suggested, was ask your staff to share once a week. But another thing you want to do is tag. Do not forget to tag. So if you have partners that are on LinkedIn and you believe that this message that you just posted would help the Chamber of Commerce, for example, you want to tag the Chamber of Commerce. If you have people, maybe your board of directors, that you're talking about in the post, or staff that you're talking about, don't forget to tag them. Then they will get that notification and they will share that post. So for best practices for getting your LinkedIn company page found, for what you were asking before, it's to also share and tag. It doesn't, even if you're posting from your personal page, you want to, on your profile, you want to share and tag. Nothing changes. Sharing and tagging, if you recall from our workshop together, is key. And that doesn't change on LinkedIn. It's really critical to share and tag. That's page 52. So on page 53, I'm looking at this lawyer's company page. And if I wanted to share, you're going to have your staff share it. So they can share what was on the company page. They can comment, they can like it. So it's giving the company page more exposure. Okay. So if I scroll down and I'm on page 54, when I go to share it, I clicked on share. Often best practices is that you may want to write something before you just click on share. So I'm going to write something, so I'm giving it my credibility when I'm sharing. So I'm indicating something, but it's also a good opportunity to tag somebody. So I might want to tag someone who I might think may not have seen my company's pages post. So I may want to get their attention as a human and say, hey, here's a great article, or here's an event you may want to know about, and I might tag some of my clients in that. Does that make sense? So those are best practices you want to follow in getting your company message out there and expanding the reach of your company page. And you want to use your staff and yourself. Okay? So on page 55, I'm just showing you Community Futures Ontario. As simple as going to their page and clicking on share, and all of us can do that to help share the message. Then if I go to page 56, they did a fabulous job of tagging. See these names here on page 56, Mary, Mike, and Peter, that are highlighted? It means those folks are highlighted. Sorry, I've tagged. And another thing on LinkedIn, which you may not realize, it's huge for hashtags. So I'll leave you on that note because we're now way over, but it's huge on hashtags. As you're typing on LinkedIn, it will automatically come up and present you different hashtags that are trending that it thinks you may want to include in your post. This is the same on your personal profile when you're creating a post, or on your business page. So a good post is going to include tagging people, obviously. Tagging maybe businesses. A link, in this case, they want more information. They have a link back to their site. And then some hashtags. They have a Rural Ontario, which is a hashtag they use. But they also have community, economic development, social impact, other hashtags that they want to be included in when they're posting. So hashtags are important. For my rule of thumb, I don't like more than 5 hashtags at the end. But it's up to yourself how you're going to manage the hashtags. So people will go to LinkedIn and they will search for a hashtag, and you'd like to be part of those results.
Can I just ask a question?
Yes.
How many people, how many offices that are on this call use LinkedIn?
We do in Brussels. We first started.
Excellent. There you are.
But where's Rebecca? She's not talking. Is that you talking, Rebecca?
No, Rebecca, I don't think can.
Rebecca's she's
No,
at
it's
the
Charlie.
Elgin office.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
She's in the Elgin
Elgin.
Business Resource
So,
St. Thomas.
so if I clicked on Community Futures, oh, beautiful job. So she's got a nice cover for Huron, and she's got a really good logo squared up nicely, so it shows up beautifully next to all of her posts. And if I scroll down, I can, as a person visiting this, I can follow it, so I will get her updates. So that's what you're hoping people are going to do, is to follow. I can see their 21 employees are on LinkedIn. So if I clicked on that, it's going to show me the different people that are their employees, which is really exciting. And if I go back to it, I can see all of her posts. Okay, so that's a great example. And I love the video, so you shared this video. One of the things that you're, say again?
So I find his posts interesting. Tim Campbell.
Very cool. Yeah, I don't know him. I'm looking forward to getting to know him now. Thank you. So you can upload videos to your social media through LinkedIn. You can upload videos on LinkedIn, and the videos can be up to 10 minutes, or you can upload a photo. And I love what you've done here is you've tagged the photo. She's doing everything right. So you've got a link, you've got some hashtags, and you've actually tagged the photo. So these three people are going to get notification about the photos. So it's really cool. So Tina up here, if she was on LinkedIn, you probably could have tagged her, but maybe she's one of these other folks that are tagged down here. So that's powerful. So that's very cool. Okay. So that's excellent. So this one, in the future, if you had a person that is your spokesperson on LinkedIn, this could come up maybe as an event. That was a good one. I remember that. Perfect. Okay. So native video, as I said, you can upload video to LinkedIn, and I'm on page, and I find that works really well. Unfortunately, you can't add subtext as easily as you can to a link to a video on Facebook. On Facebook, you can upload a video and get all your captions so that the words show up as you're talking. You can't do that on LinkedIn yet. I hope one day they're going to add that as a feature to uploading videos to LinkedIn. So what I like to do is when I have a video that I'm going to put on LinkedIn, I try to make it a little bit shorter, and I try to add subtitles to it somehow, because 90% of people do watch videos with the sound off. So you want to make sure they know what the video is. So if you want them to turn it on, that you've got something that's going to hook them. Okay, so the last thing on LinkedIn that I find very useful is the slide shares. You can go to LinkedIn and you can find all sorts of PowerPoints on incredible information, and that would be on the slide share. So on LinkedIn, on page 47, if you ever go to clicking on more, those dots, you'll find that's where you can put an ad for your company page or your profile. You can post a job. But if you clicked on learning or slide share, those two are really powerful. And on the slide share, if you see on page 75, you put in any topic you like, and there's an incredible amount of information there. You can actually upload something there too, so you become part of the knowledge base on LinkedIn. And that might be worth your while if you have something which is something that anyone would benefit from. As far as succession planning, you may want to put it up here on LinkedIn. I absolutely love that ability on LinkedIn. And that brings us to the end. Yes?
Oh, Rebecca made a comment in the chat section, how she can't figure out how to delete her old LinkedIn account right now. Is there a trick to that? Or
What was that? How to delete her old account?
Yeah.
Yeah, so to delete your old account, you need to, you have to have your email and password to it. If she's talking about her profile, and she needs to go in and deactivate it. So she would go into her account, and she would.
Like for the business page.
Sorry, it was her business page she's talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, so on her business page, she would go into her business page, and she would go to Administrator Tools, deactivate page. Rebecca, you can't see my screen, can you? So on the far, so when you're logged in to your,
She can.
oh good, okay, so when you're logged in to your business page, go over to the far right, Admin Tools, you scroll down and you clicked on Deactivate Page. I'm not going to do it right now, but that will deactivate your page. Do you see it? Okay, cool. And then, so I think that brings us to the end. I was going to talk a little bit, if we had time, about calendaring, but Sarah suggested that we leave that to the end. Sherry suggested we leave that to the end in case there wasn't time. But the big thing that I would suggest for you is, do you need a communications calendar? Absolutely. You're dead without it. Once a week I go through and I look, what am I communicating this week? But once a quarter, I look at all events coming up, and we look at how we're going to manage our events through all of our different communications platforms. So how often should you fill in your communications calendar? High level annually. You want to take a step back and look at annually everything that's going on. Key concepts quarterly, and then detailed monthly. That works for us. That works for all of our clients. So high level, you want to, don't be surprised. You don't want any surprises. You want to be able to know, okay, I'm going to be doing these trade shows this year. I am going to be doing these awards this year. We are going to be hosting these events this year. And then you put that into your annual calendar, and then quarterly you start putting more detail to it, and then monthly you have all of your full details. And this is what I use on page 85. I use this for all of our clients. We look at seasonal. Is there things that we do seasonal? Are there trade shows that we do throughout the year? Are there contests or award ceremonies or promo codes? Or in your case, what are the different grants and loans? When are they expiring? So you would put that into your communications calendar. And then on page 86, what we often do is we look at who are the influencers that we meet to make sure that we are tagging, and what are their handles. What industries, what are the hashtags that we need to ensure we're leveraging, and what are the causes, what are other cause hashtags, whether you're supporting females in STEAM, for example. Maybe that's not a cause, but that's something you support. You need to be aware of. It was International Women's Day yesterday, and you would put something out there that was about International Women's Day and maybe women's in STEAM. There's International Girls' Day on October 8th. Maybe that's something that you're going to be aware, supporting in your community. So that's something that you want to be putting into your calendar. And then on page 87, your weekly posts to your Google listing is critical. You want to think of, what do I need to post on my Google listing so it comes up when people are searching for me? I suggest that might be the same post you're going to put on your company page for LinkedIn. So it's more it's not warm and fuzzy, your Google listing. It's talking about actual products and services that you offer, and events, because you put an event on your Google listing, which is very free and very effective. And I think you may want to do the exact same thing on your LinkedIn page. You want to put things that are factual, events that are coming up, and services that you offer. And again, those posts that do better are those that are going to have actual humans in it that are at your events, or actual clients talking about your services. Nothing changes in the approach. Okay, so I think that would be it. So we're on the very last page, 88. what is the very last page? Okay, so this would be the last page, 89, and I just wanted to say thank you very much. So that was a bit of a long one. I apologize, but it was a huge topic, and I want to make sure that everyone got what they needed from it.
Oh, I thank you, Sophie. I think